Join Daniel on a transformative journey as he shares insights, stories, and practical strategies to inspire, motivate, and help you unlock your true potential. Having generated more than 30 million views on his content and working with some of the world's most celebrated actors and musicians, Daniel brings a wealth of experience and wisdom to each episode. Daniel will guide you on a path of self-discovery and personal growth and help you chart your own course to personal mastery.
Great Scott! You're listening to The Growth Time Machine with Daniel Curtis. Don't forget to follow. Your future depends on it.
Hello everybody, welcome to the next episode of The Growth Time Machine. I'm your host Daniel Curtis, and this week we're going to whisk our way back into the world of motion picture. Back into the world of motion picture and the wonderful character that is Forrest Gump. Starring Hollywood acting legend Tom Hanks in the lead role and winning him the Best Actor in a Motion Picture in 1994. That's when the film was released. So let's talk about this incredible character, Tom Hanks as Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump is someone who society has looked at and decided does not fit. The film makes that clear. Forrest as a boy wasn't allowed initially to go to school, into mainstream school, but his mother does some things which I won't go into to ensure that happens. You know, Forrest would never normally have been given a college place, but his skill in terms of playing American football, there are countless things that the film highlights. You know, how he doesn't really fit in the military, how he doesn't fit in kind of from a love perspective. He's deemed really in the beginning of the film and throughout most of it as, it's strange, weird. He is ostracized, yet he remains hopeful. He remains loyal to Jenny, to Captain Dan, to Bubba's family. He goes out of his way throughout that entire film to try and do the best for people. And in that is a beautiful, beautiful lesson. A lesson about never giving up, about how someone that society really, really, really does not care about can come good and can push through the most torturous of circumstances and be great. And I think the film demonstrates that. And you may well look at that movie and go, well, it's full of silly stories that were totally implausible and could never happen. Maybe so. But why does fiction have to be bad? Why do we look at that and go, it's implausible, therefore there's nothing to learn? There is. From that character, the way that the character is written and the way that the character is played. It's a beautifully well-written character that has such depth and goes through such lows, losing people that he desperately cares about, being in situations where most people would not be able to cope, yet Forrest Gump can. Forrest Gump can, because of the man's resilience. His resilience to deal with what is thrown at him, because he has had to deal with people being against him and people not being in his corner his entire life. Now, I can share a little bit of my own story, which represents even a tiny bit of, what Forrest goes through. In school, I was bullied. I was bullied all the time. I was strange. I had funny hair, big glasses. I was not cool. I was odd, strange. I didn't fit into any kind of conventional box. I listened to music that was 100 years before my time, and I was weird. I was. Sport kind of saved me, but throughout my entire time in school, I had people not only call me names, but physically push, shove, hurt me. And I remember it many times being there, thinking to myself, do you know what? I don't want to be here anymore. I don't. I don't want to have to wake up tomorrow and go through this crap again. And there are many times that I faked being ill in order to not go to school. And there are probably times where I genuinely considered whether this world was right for me and whether I would just be better just to not be here anymore. And that is the scale of my depression when I was in school. It was hard. It was brutal. Brutal. And I saw little hope, little light at the end of the tunnel. And I thought that I was stupid. I thought that I would probably achieve nothing. Because that's what I was told. I was told I would achieve nothing. I was called stupid. I was called an idiot. I was called far worse things than that. And yeah, I'm not saying there were not times where I could have dealt with things better, because of course there were. But I was in a situation where I felt like I was kind of fighting for my life. And whether or not I was still here or not, I did not like the life that I was living. School was hell. School was miserable. And I remember going to college and being scared, just terrified that people again would label me as being a misfit, an outcast, someone who didn't belong in a group with other people. And I knew I was different. But rather than kind of having the hope that Forrest Gump in the film has, I went the other way. I just moped and I was sad, genuinely sad. And I wish I had a friend like Forrest Gump. I really do. I wish I did. Someone loyal, someone who's utterly dedicated to the person that is within. And what's remarkable for me about this incredible story, apart from the amazing lines that come out of it, Jenny and, lines like "Run, Forrest, run," which I have had shouted at me so many times, or "Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get." It's incredible that in this day and age, all of these years later, we are still uttering these iconic film lines. That's why I love film so much. I love quotes so much, because I find them to be utterly symbolic of a moment in time. And it's not just the words. You can be transported back to a particular feeling with those words. And when it comes from a movie, that's what happens. So I say the words, but I also kind of see the pictures and the kind of, reference of why that has been said, the context of it. And I find quotes to be very good for my kind of sense of well-being, because I read them and I find them inspirational. They kind of give me a good moral centering. I really appreciate a good quote. I really do. But I also really appreciate this great film. I am amazed in this day and age that people are still looked upon as weird, stupid, unintelligent, that they are deemed to be basically a society misfit. Well, no one was a bigger misfit than me, and I've done okay. I've achieved things that I'm incredibly grateful for, incredibly passionate about. And there are so many people who give up on life because of things that other people have said. Do not be one of those people who let somebody else stamp on their dreams, because you have more inside of you than they could ever wish to know. What people see is just part of a rich tapestry that you have painted with many, many, many colours. What you show the world is often a part of you that you deem to be the best for any particular situation. It is not that often, I feel, that we embrace our true, authentic self and say to ourselves, whatever happens, I am going into that situation and I'm just going to be me. And the reason we don't do that is really, really simple, because we do not want to be the person who stands out. We don't, unless it's for a reason of praise, perhaps. We don't want to be the one who looks different to anybody else. One of the things I regret in my existence was in college. I remember being part of some test that the psychology department were doing, and they came out and it was some maths questions, and they went around the table and everyone gave an answer to the question and everyone gave the same answer. And I kind of went along with it, even though I knew it was wrong. And the point of this particular test was to see if people followed crowds. And I did, because everyone else was told to say the wrong answer. And that was the point. And the majority of people said the wrong answer, even though they knew it was wrong. I hated myself for that. I still beat myself up about that. I refuse now to be the person who just goes along with something because other people are saying it. If I do not believe in something, I will say, I will tell people, and I refuse to just be another person nodding their head and going, I know this isn't correct. And that's what Forrest Gump is about. All of these people knew the way they were treating Forrest was wrong. You know, in the end, Jenny becomes, well, he was always the love of Forrest's life, but Forrest becomes the love of Jenny's life when she sees Forrest for truly who he is inside. You know, Captain Dan and, you know, all of these people look back at Forrest as this positive influence in their life. But at the time, probably more of a burden. Someone who, yeah, they might not be as smart, funny, quirky as some other people. They may not bring us the same kind of excitement, perhaps, as some other people do, or hanging out with other people, but loyalty, dedication, commitment, drive, enthusiasm for life and everything that it has is something that should be celebrated from the rooftops. There is nothing greater than consistency. People who are up here and down here and back up and forth, yeah, those people might feel unpredictable. Those people may feel to you like they have something inside of them which is, yeah, just so exciting. I tell you, that person who remains the same, who, no matter what is thrown at them, believes in the good of man, who believes that things can and will get better, who believes that loyalty, trust, humility, kindness, and passion, that is a remarkable person. Those people should be celebrated just as much. And I was odd, I was weird, I was strange, and I see people like me all the time in schools, and I think to myself, yeah, you are going to be amazing. You know, I can see what they're going to be. And sometimes we just skip by those people. Every person deserves their chance to tell a story. And just like Forrest Gump, what would our story sound like? Could we actually sit on a bench waiting for a bus and recount our story and actually have that much to say? Would it be in any way kind of rich and full of magic and full of experiences? Okay, we may not be able to recreate what happened with Forrest in his life, but we can make our life rich. We can make it varied, and we can make it full of helping people. And that's what Forrest Gump did. He helped the people around him. He did that. And he will continue to, because that motion picture will always inspire me. Inspire me to be better, to be a better man, to be a better father, to be more understanding, to be kinder, to be more empathetic, more loyal, more dedicated. And if a story can do that, that person transforms out of fiction and comes into real life because they're influencing real people. Never doubt your place on this earth. Never doubt that you are special. Never doubt that within you is something that no one else has. You are beautiful. You are incredible. And if anyone has ever made you feel like you are not worthy, that you being yourself is not good enough, or that you should never be yourself, please listen to me when I tell you and say that that is the person within inside you who is desperate to come out, because there's nothing more beautiful than authenticity. I welcome you to put back on Forrest Gump and enjoy once again Tom Hanks's remarkable performance, but to look at that film for all the goodness that it brings. And as always, I wish you well on your forward journey, and just know that there is always hope. No matter how bad things have got, how bad we feel inside, there is always someone out there who would love to hear from you. And I have always got time to sit and listen anytime. Never ever feel like you are alone. You are not. I promise you, you are not alone. There are people who understand the journey you've been through. And I will always have a door open. So just remember, go forth with the promise of possibility. Take care. Take care.